And we are live. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Morawski, and this is Thursday Morning Live. We're here every Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, and I'm glad that you're joining us this morning. And, if you're new to the show, go tell somebody about this show. We always tend to have a great guest on the show, somebody with some content and information that makes it really relevant. I'm really starting to try and focus this show this Thursday morning just around Chicago. So if you're from Chicago or you know somebody who's an entrepreneur, somebody in a leadership position, somebody in the real estate space that is, has a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, maybe we could talk about markets and the economy. Tell them about this show because I'd love to have them on as my guest. Hey, this morning we are being sponsored by the GOB Network. The GOB is a nonprofit, multifamily training organization supporting financial literacy. And if you are in the multifamily space, if you're thinking about becoming a multifamily investor, in July 13th and 14th, we are doing a conference here in Chicago, probably be between 500 and 600 people there. And if you are looking for networking and opportunity, and the goal at the conference is for us to do 40 deals. So if you're somebody coming, bring a deal, or if you don't have a deal to bring, be prepared to get on a team to do a deal and help participate. So we're looking to really make some headway in the conference space along with in the multifamily business. So, hey, this morning, and one last thing, please, if you like what you see here, please like us. If you're on YouTube this morning, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps the algorithm, right? If you see us on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you are, please follow us. Facebook, like us, love us. It helps the algorithm. Thanks. Appreciate that. And tell somebody we're here. Hey, this morning, my guest is Keith Hoffman. Keith is a Chicago local, and he is with Draper and Kramer Mortgages. And I'm going to bring Keith up. I think that today will be good because we're going to talk about a couple of different things, and we might even talk about some horses and horse racing. So stand by, everybody. Hey, Keith, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you this morning?
I'm good. What's happening? How are you?
I'm great. Just beautiful day, and the week is almost over, so it's been pretty interesting week so far.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, I just one last thing I want to tell people. If you are out there and you want to make a comment, please drop a comment in the box. We'll try and get your question answered. We'll say hi to you. Nicholas, good to see you this morning. If anybody wants to just say, hey, hi, and here's where I'm from, love to hear from you. Hey, Keith, one thing I like to do on every show when I start it is ask my guests, what is the one word that best describes you personally and professionally?
Boy, that's a tough one. I guess fortitude. I go in 100% on everything that I do, and I really try to do it the right way. I do a little, ahead of time. I'll look at it and see what I need to do and do my homework. But I tell you, I think fortitude, I just keep moving ahead on everything that I do.
Okay, awesome. Where do you think you got that from? Do you think that was natural for you, or?
It's hard to say. I really think that my parents were a big influence on that. My dad worked hard. My mom was a survivor from a concentration camp. So based on that, she kept going, and she kept seeing things as the glasses half full, not empty. So I took that same philosophy, and I really enjoy life and do everything to the hilt.
Yeah. It's interesting when we have that history and that background in our life, how we, how do we adapt to it? How does it help us, maybe shape us, right? So I always find that to be pretty interesting. So Keith, talk about your background a little bit. Where, how'd you get in the crazy business of real estate, and what got you to that point?
Well, it's funny. I graduated Western Illinois University in the 70s and decided I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I actually went to work at a restaurant, and then after that, I was a salesperson in the copy machine and fax machine industry. And then I really decided that that certainly is not for me. So I went into the apparel business, and I was there for a long time. And with all of the, stores, going together, under different management, ownership, names, I decided to get out of that business, and I went into the mortgage business. I actually knew somebody in California. My real estate agent said, "Hey, you would be great at this." And I thought, well, okay, I'll try it. But I didn't want to do it there, so I came back here, and I've been doing it for 32 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Hey, listen, let's talk about the apparel business a little bit. What'd you do in that space?
I was a manufacturer's rep. I actually, believe it or not, was in the intimate apparel business. I was a rep for Maidenform, and then Liliette and Triumph, and we did private label. And then I went into the sock business. So I worked for Burlington and Interwoven Socks, did Prima Sports socks, and a lot of different sock products that was pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I bet that was a crazy space to be in. I knew somebody who was in the swimsuit space for years, and
my wife would kill me if I did that.
Oh my goodness. The stories, holy cow. Anyhow, that's for another podcast.
That's another story. That's right. Exactly.
And that wouldn't be a podcast I do, but
no,
there would. So let's talk a little bit about the market today, Keith. What's the market like? And I always like to ask people, where do you see it going and why? You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, the hard thing that we see right now is there's low inventory. There are prices that are going sky high because there's such demand for it. They still want to come in, and they're paying more than list price, and that's very, very common right now to get 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 different offers on it. So that's been the real part of the industry that's really a hard thing to look at. Interest rates are going higher. We do see them going a little higher from here. As inflation comes and recession comes, you'll see some market changes in the interest rates. But, I still think it's tough. I think interest rates are going to, still dictate what's going on. But in addition to that, what's going to happen is if people continue to keep paying higher prices for homes, there's going to be a lot of people that cannot get into homes. And that's going to be a real problem in the industry, I think.
You seeing any foreclosures right now? Are you seeing that side of the market pick up at all?
I haven't really seen a lot of it. We saw a lot of it a long time ago. And, a lot of the banks have gotten rid of those. But I don't see a lot of problems right now. I see a lot of homes that are going into repayment. A lot of the people through COVID had problems. They were allowed to make some changes to it. But I think right now we don't see a lot of it. I haven't seen a lot of it right now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of different perspectives. People have different perspectives out there. I read an article just this past week that said in the first quarter of this year there were 3,000 foreclosure filings. So whether they'll hit the market or not is another thing, right? Or whether they'll be foreclosures, but
yeah. And I guess it's going to also depend on what the property looks like. I mean, you're not going to see it on HGTV, being remodeled and sold and done that way. But, I think we'll still see some foreclosures. There's always a percentage. I don't know what the percentage is right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So, what do you like about the real estate space that is attractive?
A lot of people right now are looking at purchasing properties and using them as investment properties. Right now, if you're going to rent a home, it's expensive. I mean, they've gone up in rent. You can buy a home most of the time and pay less money in a mortgage, including taxes and insurance, than you would as rent. Yeah. So I see that's going on a lot right now, as a lot of people are going to investment properties, and there's just so many out there, I think, but it's going to still be expensive. You're looking at higher prices, and the question is are the investors really going to pay that kind of money for it?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is you're talking more on the residential side, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm in the multifamily space, two separate worlds, right? And I have seen nothing but cap rate compression on the multifamily side.
Mhm.
And I said a year ago, man, why would anybody want to buy this at this cap rate? But they continue to, and now you're looking at it and it's 100, 150 basis points less than what it was then.
Mhm.
And it's like where's going to be the give? What's going to have to happen? Then you have days where the stock market jerks 300 points,
Oh,
and it doesn't phase anybody anymore. Hey, listen, you probably remember 1987 Black Monday.
I remember I was on the golf course that day, and I
Mm.
was working for a company, and I was actually golfing with the CFO and the vice president, and we got off the golf course, and everything just blew up. I mean, everything, you couldn't imagine what went on, from a company standpoint, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm putting in. I was in the swimming pool business of all things in the Midwest, right? You get about 3 months a year to really be in that business. But I'm in the swimming pool business, and I remember we're getting ready to pour concrete, and this guy's wife comes out on the back deck. We're in Oak Brook, and this guy's wife comes out on the back deck, and she goes, "Hey, you guys might want to pack up and go home right now." What are you talking about? She goes, "The stock market just crashed. My husband lost $1.4 million this morning. He's not in a very good mood. He's on his way home." So we packed up.
I can see.
About a week later, the husband calls and he's like, "Hey, you guys could come back now." She told me she chased you off. But I'll never forget that. That was just one of those funny type of things from Black Monday. But today the stock market jerks 500 points, and people just kind of go along. It's part of the ride, right? So, and I think it's the same thing. What do you see about inflation right now, Keith?
Well, everything's going up. I mean, you can't go to the grocery store. You can see it at the gas stations. Inflation is definitely here. And I know it's a number that people say you have to look at this. Same thing with a recession. How many months is it going to do what they expect it to do? And I do see inflation. I mean, think about all the people out there that can't afford to drive to work. I mean, the gas prices are ridiculous, and so are the prices in the grocery stores. It's gotten out of hand, and I know there's a lot of reasons for it. You're looking at a number of things. I mean, by the time you get done with this podcast, you'll still be talking about it. It's tough.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah. I was out for a walk. I live downtown, and I'm out for a walk, and the gas sign at a gas station says $5.99 for regular, $7.87 for premium, and like $5.22 for diesel. And I put my camera up to take a picture because I'm going to make a post. And Keith, I kid you not, this is the most amazing. I've never seen this. I put my camera up, and the numbers on the camera are rolling. You can't get a good picture of the numbers sitting still. It was like I was playing a slot machine at the casino. The numbers are just rolling. I'll send it to you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually want to do a post with it. But I was like, and I said, "Hey, Jennifer, come here, look at this." And she comes over, and it's rolling, and you look at the sign, and the numbers are just sitting there on the sign, and they're rolling on my camera. And I'm like, this is weird. Either some algorithm that the sign's throwing off, or the phone, the metrics in the iPhone aren't allowing you to take pictures. I don't know. Is that I have to ask, listen, I'm not big on weird stuff happening, but that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that definitely is weird. I've never heard of that. I mean, there's been times when I've gone and all of a sudden I look at the sign and it says 555, and then you go and it's 560 when you get to the actual tank, and you're like, well, who did what? But yeah, they're changing all the time, and that's crazy. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you when we're off.
Sure.
So Keith, hey, listen, so what are mortgage rates at today?
Oh, that's a tough question because everything is based on a number of things. If I said they were 5.5, there's adjustments based on the credit scores, the loan to value, whether it's a purchase or a refinance, whether you're taking cash out. So there are adjustments, and so nobody can actually quote you an exact rate unless they know the exact part of the information that you need. I mean, we do this all the time. And so the other thing is APR. Everybody says, well, APR. Well, what's your APR? Well, you got to do the rhythms and the numbers, the calculations to figure that out. Yeah. But, the key is if you don't have a lot of cost, you have a low APR. And
hey, how about, so let's just do this. Let's just say 30-year fixed, 20% down. Give me a range.
Purchase 20% down in Illinois, you might be looking, and don't quote me, but it might be around 5.5. I mean, okay. I'm looking at the numbers this morning, and they're already off. Let's see what they are right now. So jobless claims for the week were June 5th. We're up 229,000, which is good, and that's neutral for the mortgage business for the interest rates. But they were down. Earlier this morning, yesterday they were down like 13 and 18, 30 seconds. Every time they go down, interest rates are going up. So this morning they're not too bad. They're only down 5. So, I would say you're probably looking somewhere close to 5.5% roughly.
So historically, over the last 30 years, correct me if I'm wrong, interest rates have averaged about 8%, right?
I would think that's about right. When I first bought my home, in the 1980s, interest rates were 17 and 18%. And I never thought I could buy a house at that time. And I looked at it, and the guy, it was a VA loan, so I assumed a VA loan at 14%. And then I got a second mortgage for about the same amount for 11%. So I felt really good at 12.5% on an average when everything was 18%. I got in this business, it was about 9.25%. And I've seen it go like this, way down, and come back up a little right now. But, yeah.
So, and people will call you and they'll go, "Wow, they're high, right?" And pause on the buying because they say they're high because 6 months ago when they should have bought, they were 2.5 or 2.75.
Yeah.
And so, I've been in a real estate space a long time. When I got in the business, interest rates were 16, 17%. And I remember asking a guy in the office, I said, so what's the market like? He goes, the market is so good that we're getting offers on houses while the signs are still vibrating from installation.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, that's crazy, right? So,
yeah.
So how the market was at 16 and 17%. So, the market's still been good. I think that it'll continue to be relatively good. But, I think we walk with our eyes wide open, right?
Yeah, what I've seen is, especially over the years, I see somebody, in interest rates starting to go down, and they're going down, and then people go, oh, well, wait, I'm going to wait till it goes down a little more. And there is no waiting. It's going to stop, and then all of a sudden it's going to go back up.
Yeah.
And it goes up faster than it goes down. So, those are the kind of things we look at all the time.
So, I think that's inherent about people. We wait to get married till we make more money. We, wait till we make more money to have kids.
Yeah.
We, wait. I'm going to wait because interest rates are going to go back down and they wind up going back up. I think that it comes down to a fact that you have to be more oriented towards taking action, moving forward, right? You have to execute properly. Hey, let's talk about this, something you've executed on very well over the last few years. But what's one of the funnest things you like to do?
Well, I love horse racing. That is my passion. I started that. My first time was 1974. I went to the Kentucky Derby, and it was really kind of funny. I was a junior in high school in '73, and my friend asked me, "Would I like to go to the Kentucky Derby?" And I said, "I'd love to." And my dad said, "Keith, you can't. You're not even 18 yet." So we couldn't go 300 miles, to Kentucky to do this. So senior year of high school, I asked my dad, "Hey, Dad, can I go to the Kentucky Derby?" And he said, "Keith, you're 18. You can do whatever you want." So that was my first year, and it was really fun. And I've been going almost every year since. I missed 2 years, but it was something that's my passion. I really love horse racing.
Did your dad ever regret saying, "Keith, you can do whatever you want"?
I don't know that he did. He actually talks to me every once in a while about my horses. Hey, who's going to run? And hey, do they have a shot? And I don't think he regrets it, but it's funny because he's 92 years old now.
Oh,
and
wow.
and we talk about it all the time. But I remind him that he did not let me go. And that year in 1973, Secretariat won the Triple Crown, and I missed that.
Wow, that's crazy, right? Hey,
Yeah.
how many horses do you have, and what's their names?
I have 3 right now. Sister Ruler has a real soft part in my heart. She's a 6-year-old right now. 6-year-old, I think. Yeah, 6-year-old.
Has a real soft part in my wallet too.
Well, yeah, the horse won the last race at Arlington Racetrack. I hated to see Arlington Park go down. But if it's going to go down, what is more important than winning the last race at the track? So that's the first horse. The second one is Lieutenant Junior Grade.
Okay.
Actually, raced 4 times for us this year. 3 wins, 1 second, or 2 wins, 1 second. And then we have Overthought, which is our newest horse.
Isn't that something a lot of people do a lot of the time? Overthink things.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, when I was introduced, my trainer talked to me and said, "Hey, this is the horse I'm thinking about," and I'm going to the Kentucky Derby, and I am really thinking back and forth: do I want a horse? Do I want this horse? Do I not want this horse? What percentage, and so forth. And finally, I said, "This is overthinking it. I'm in." So I bought half of the horse, and we just won last Thursday.
Where
race out.
So harness racing or
no, it's not. It's thoroughbred.
Okay.
But when I first started going to horse races, I was in high school, and I actually did go to the harness races, and that's what got me hooked into, racing. Yeah.
So is Arlington Park really going to be? Are the Bears really going to go there?
Well, that's a real good question. It's so hard to realize what they truly want to do. I mean, when you look at it, the McCaskies bought it through the Bears. But yet they still had a long-term contract in Chicago, and it would cost them an awful lot of money to do that. The kids don't want it. So when Mrs. McCaskey passes away, I think that the kids want to sell the property and sell the Bears. And so that's a big thing. They were talking, I think it was the amount of money that they could get for the Bears would double because of that property. And so, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation. They thought maybe that they would keep the property and build and then sell the Bears. And then, of course, they would sign the long-term lease with themselves before they sell it.
Right.
Or they can, sell it in whole or not sell it at all. They went to the architects that built the Las Vegas stadium for the Raiders. And that's pretty expensive.
Yeah. So, what's interesting is when they talked about for years moving to that spot over in Elk Grove, and Elk Grove finally said, forget it, and built this big, beautiful technology park, right?
Yeah.
I think at some point that's prime real estate right there, though.
Oh yeah, it has been for a long time. In fact, they built that hotel right next to it, which I think they turned it into apartments. So, at this point you could rent something and overlook the track, but yet there's nothing racing now. So I don't know what's going to happen with that property.
Yeah. Interesting. Hey, Keith, how do people, let's see, let's circle up real quick. 3 bonus questions. You're from Chicago, favorite tourist attraction?
Oh, I'm going to say Lake Michigan. I love going to Lake. I lived in Evanston when I was young. We lived 4 blocks from the lake. I love going to the lake.
Yeah, nice. And favorite restaurant?
Oh gosh, there's so many good restaurants. I would have to say, um, let's see. I don't even have a favorite restaurant. I like to go to a lot of different restaurants. Um, my wife is now on a different diet than I am, so I'm not going to be able to go to those great Italian restaurants and things like that. But I really don't have one. I love going into the city. I like going to a lot of restaurants. Suburbs have fantastic places. I love going for sushi. One of my favorite sushi restaurants left Downers Grove because they went out of business through COVID, which is a shame.
A lot of, I am surprised at the number of businesses that COVID has affected so bad.
Oh yeah, it's really a shame, and I feel for those people. And now you can't even get them to come to work. I mean, I'm not understanding that whole process of people not working, because I've always had that work ethic. And all of a sudden, you've got a restaurant, and the kids go in and they go, "How much is this per hour?" And the guy says, "Oh, it's 18 an hour." He goes, "Oh, that's not enough." That's not enough. Like you're a college or you're a kid. Like, what are you doing?
I think my first job was like $4.75 an hour making hot dogs.
Yeah, where was that?
There was a place out on Rand Road over by Hersey High School called Pogo's. Just Rand and Thomas. It was Luke's for a long time after that, but
I think we've all worked in like a fast food restaurant. I worked for Burger King.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, and I remember coming home smelling like grill, and then I have to go and shower before I go out anywhere. So,
All right. Well, it's time to land this plane. Tell people how they get a hold of you, Keith.
Well, I appreciate it. You can email me at keith.hoffman@dkmortgage.com, or you can call me at 630-306-LOAN, which is 630-306-5626. It's probably the easiest way. I'm always available. You can always leave me a message if I'm not around.
Keith, I always love talking to you. Hang out with me for a minute. I'm going to move you to the back room and say goodbye, okay?
Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Oh, and one last thing. I just want to mention this. If you know anybody else who would be a great guest, Chicago local on Thursday morning, please let me know, okay? And I'm always looking for somebody for Thursday morning. So
perfect.
Thanks. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here this morning. A lot of great comments out on the chat this morning. Appreciate everybody from everywhere this morning. Hey, that was Keith Hoffman with Draper and Kramer. If you are looking for some residential help on the mortgage side, give Keith a call. Been in the business a long time, knows a lot. Hey, if you're looking for a little coaching on how to buy a racehorse, call Keith too for that, because I know he loves to chat about racehorses. So thanks for being here. Remember, the GOB conference is coming up July 13th and 14th. That's going to be at the O'Hare West End. And be about 600 people are expected this year for the second annual conference. Some great speakers. Actually, I get the opportunity to speak. I'll be sharing the stage with people like John Kasman and Brian Briscoe and others. And please forgive me if I forget your name this morning, but looking forward to seeing you there. If you go to GOB Network, use my last name, Morawski, and you'll get $100 off your ticket. Also, last thing, today is day 5 of the 5-day multifamily challenge. We've been out on Facebook, the Facebook group, talking about multifamily. If you are somebody going into the multifamily business, been in the multifamily business, and you need a shot in the arm, the 5-day challenge has been great. Go to Facebook, join the group, 5-day multifamily challenge. We go live tonight at 7 o'clock, live Q&A. Had a bunch of people on over the last 4 days. Don't feel like you missed it or you're behind. You could catch up on all the recordings. They're out on Facebook. Look forward to seeing everybody. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week if I can do